Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a big homeschool haul. It's from a few different places. It'll also give you a little sneak peek at some of the curriculum choices I'll be using this year, which I hope to have those videos coming out soon. I'm very much behind on all of that, but I'm hoping that it is still helpful for you guys to see those things. But let's get started with the haul. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to share with you guys is a book that is pretty popular among homeschoolers. It is the book Word Roots. I just got level 1. I have plans for this to do it as a whole group. Obviously not my little kids, but my upper elementary, middle, and even my high schooler. I plan to use it a little bit as part of our morning basket time that we still implement. I'll probably share a little bit more about how we're going to use that later on, because it's not going to be just like something that's used all the time. So I'll share more about that later. The next thing that I got was level 1 of All About Reading. So I have used All About Reading with a couple of my kiddos. If you are not familiar with my channel, with my family, I have 7 children now. The youngest is a baby, but 6 of my children are school age children. I have a high schooler, I have 2 middle schoolers next year, a 5th grader, a 2nd grader, and a 1st grader. I have a video about my 2 favorite reading programs. I will link it down below, but they are 2 very vastly different reading programs. And I try to pick curriculum to fit each of my children's learning styles or their needs. And so that is where this comes in. This is actually, I started using it already with my 1st grader. Well, he's going to be an upcoming 1st grader. He'll be in 1st grade in the fall. He just finished kindergarten. And a lot of this is review. So really he is technically about almost halfway through level 1, but I didn't want to start him in level 2. He is just a very tactile, kinesthetic kiddo. And then I already had level 2, 3, and 4 of All About Reading, but I did need to get the student pages for level 2 because the first time I ever used All About Reading, I used it as a consumable, which was not very smart on my part. And so with having so many kids, and so I had to re-buy the student pages. So that one hurt just a little bit. We'll also be using with my 2nd grader. So that's how those will be utilized. Okay, so along the same line of reading, I purchased the light units that I am going to need for my 5th grader for her Christian Light reading. So that was the next purchase. And then I also needed to get the light units for the 2nd grade math for my 2nd grader, but I only had to buy 2 because for whatever reason, I'm not really sure how this happened. I have all of the light units except for 201 and 202, but I'm not sure how that happened because all of my kids have used level 2. So I don't know why I have an unfinished set of level 2, but anyway, I only had to buy those 2 light units for her for math. All right, so let's move on to some books that I have purchased. Now, some of this is new books, and some of these are from a used book stand that was set up at our homeschool convention. And so, yeah, so I'll share those with you. So the first one is the graphic novel of the Iliad. Now, this one came recommended to me. This actually is for my oldest. He will be a sophomore next year. Now, typically I would have him actually read the Iliad. However, he is doing a pretty intensive language arts curriculum anyway next year, or English curriculum. But he's going to be tagging along with our reading of ancient history, but he is actually not doing ancient history as a credit next year. That sounds really complicated. Stick around for that video. But some of the literature that I am going to have him read along with what he's doing for his English is from our ancient history. But I didn't want to overwhelm him. So So one of the things I got him was the graphic novel version of the Iliad. Now, disclaimer, do not buy this for a young child. It is graphic. It is a graphic novel in the sense of war scenes and stuff like that. So just be forewarned about that. Okay, so other books that I grabbed, this is also for my oldest. This is going to be one of his assigned reads, is The Eagle of the Ninth by Rosemary Sutcliffe. And this is, again, it goes along with our ancient history reading and stuff like that. The next one is Hittite Warrior. This is actually going to be what my 8th grader more than likely will be reading next year. And also goes along with what we're studying in history. But also he is going to be doing a book club from Redefining School. I'm hoping that he will be in the group that reads this book. That will probably be at the top of the list of a choice to be in that group, simply because I kind of had that in mind already. But if it doesn't work out that way, I'm still going to have him read it. The next book that I got is a fun one. If you haven't read Detectives in Togas, it's a fun one. And so I got this to do. I'm not sure if we're going to do it as a read aloud altogether, or if I'm just going to assign it out to either my 6th grader or 5th grader, or even my 8th grader. I'm not really sure yet, but that will be one that is read next year. The next one I got is Shadow Spinner. This is another one. I'm not sure how I'm going to utilize it yet, whether it's like an independent read for a kiddo or a group read. So that's kind of my homework this summer, is to go through and really figure out how we're going to utilize the different literature for next year, and who's going to read what, and so on and so forth. So along with Detectives in Togas, I got Mystery of the Roman Ransom. And yeah, so that's part of that series. And then this was one of the books that was on the reading list for our history. This has been updated. It looks completely different now, but I paid $6 for this at our homeschool convention. And yeah, I got it way cheaper than what it is brand new, and it's still in pretty good condition, and so I grabbed that while I was there. Okay, so the next things that I got are also from the homeschool convention and also our history, so I'll share those with you. But I got the Nature Reader Book 2. I love using these with my kiddos. I did not have this one. This was in my Nature's Workshop Plus haul video. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I love these. I love to use them as independent. I love to use them as nature study during the winter to do some notebooking with. They're just great little books to utilize. Next is our science, which is Zoology 2. And we're really excited about doing this one next year. This was also in my Nature's Workshop Plus video. I got the lab kit to go along with it. And excited about this one as well. And I'm not going to pick them all up, but the student book, workbook that goes with it as well. Okay, so the next thing that I grabbed was from the Simply Charlotte Mason booth at our convention. I have several kiddos that are wanting to learn cursive, and I really like the simplicity and how this is put together. So I got the slanted cursive. What I like about this is it just starts to introduce things fairly simply. Lesson 1, observe. This is how you do it. Learn and practice. And there's a QR code here where you can actually, or your kids can actually scan the QR code, watch the little video on how to form an I in cursive, and then they practice it. So I think this will be great. It does have like the read and write. So what you do is you just fill in the letter that you have learned, which is the letter I, and it makes your copy work. Now, as you go on, it does, get you more into it. You're writing more. And then when they finish this, it is, like I said, it's, the first level of it. But once they get through this one, then I will get the next one, which is cursive quotations, slanted cursive quotations. So this is how it is. So there you go. All right. The next thing that I got, this was something that I probably should have put a little more thought into. I am not a big impulsive curriculum buyer. However, this was definitely an impulse decision. I didn't take a lot of time to really look and see if this is the level needed or anything like that. I just knew that I wanted to utilize it in some way, but I think it'll be okay. Okay. So my son that just finished kindergarten, that I mentioned is very kinesthetic and tactile, I actually purchased the Apologia Math 1 for him for first grade. But I honestly, now that I'm really like looking back through, as I'm doing this video and then thinking back through things, I think because he's not really doing a lot of math this summer, I think it might actually work out okay. He really, skill-wise, is a little, like, he's probably at least halfway through this course skill-wise. However, I think, once again, like with All About Reading Level 1, I think it will serve as good reminders, good review, and I think it will actually work fine for him. But again, I wanted something where he could play and have fun and learn, and that would be, yeah, something a little more up his alley, I think, as far as math. So this, if you have been around my channel, you know this is a big change right here, because normally in first grade, my kids are doing Christian Light Math. And he's going to be my first kiddo that is not. So we're going to be using this. All right. The next thing that I grabbed, and I shared this. No, I haven't shared it yet. All right. It is our history for next year. We're doing Biblioplan, ancient history. Big shock. If you've been around my channel, you know I love Biblioplan. And we're going to finish out the cycle this year. So we actually started in year 2 when we started Biblioplan. We've done year 2, year 3, year 4, and now we're at year 1. We cycled back to ancient history, and I'm really excited about it. And so we've got the K through 8 textbook, the Remember the Days. Is that what it is? Yep, Remember the Days. We've got the coloring book, which I love to utilize while I'm reading. I have my kids color the picture that goes with it. We've got the hands-on maps, which I love doing for that geography aspect. The timeline for the visual. This is the Cool History for Middles, which is kind of like your fill in the blank question and answer kind of thing. I like to use this not always as a worksheet form, but even for me to use as review questions, which they do have a separate book for that, but I like the depth of these questions. So I grab that and I can utilize it however I want. The hands-on ancient history, which is so much fun. This is just different activities, crafts, games, recipes, all the things that you can do along with each week of history. And then the Lesson Plans Plus, which used to be called the Family Guide, which this is the layout for what you do each day, week by week. It has all the read aloud suggestions, the independent reads. It even has the family read alouds. It's got writing ideas, which I am hoping to utilize a lot more this year. And so, yeah, we are really excited about our history next year. It's been a while since we've done ancient history. All right. So the next thing in regards to ancient history, I mentioned my high schooler, and one of the things I got for him from Simply Charlotte Mason is part of their Conversations on Character series of Plutarch. So I read The Life of Marcus Brutus a couple of years ago. I do not myself come from a classical education background, but I lean a little bit more that way in homeschooling my children in some things. And so I really wanted my high schooler to read Plutarch. However, I also wanted him to have some guidance with it that I may not be always there to give because I'm homeschooling so many ages. And he's also at an age and stage where a lot of what he does is independent. So Simply Charlotte Mason has put together these guides, and this is the actual book of the life of Marcus Brutus, okay? But for example, reading number 2, you have a summary written at the beginning of what it's going to be about, and then you have from the actual literature that they are reading along, okay? And then there's a narration at the end, which he will do for me, and some discussion questions. Now, what's great about this is that there is actually videos that go along with this that kind of read through and teach about each reading that they do throughout Plutarch. So I am hopeful that that is going to be a good experience for him in like really getting a full understanding of reading ancient literature. So yeah, if you're looking for something like that, then I got this from Simply Charlotte Mason at our convention. And then the last thing I have, you're going to hear my Instant Pot letting out steam in the background. I'm multitasking here. But the next thing is a big change for us. We have used IEW for writing in the past. But I have a lot of reasons as to why we're going to take a little bit of a break from IEW. There's nothing wrong with the program. Absolutely nothing wrong. I love IEW. But next year with some of my kiddos, I'm actually going to be using EIW. It is a completely different structure to how they teach the writing process. It also includes their grammar. I'm actually really excited about this, and I'll share a little bit more in the curriculum videos. But I did get level 5, and I'm going to have a couple of my kiddos doing this together. So I have my 5th grader doing it, but I also am going to have my 6th grader doing it. And they're both going to be doing level 5 just because this is going to be new. My 6th grader needs the extra, probably the extra like review for writing, because my 5th grader is really strong naturally in writing, and some of my kids aren't. All of us are built differently. So, but I am really excited about this actually. I did a lot of research in finally making my decision to switch over from IEW to EIW. And like I said, I will give more information as to why in those upcoming curriculum videos. And so we're going to see how this goes. And as I said, I'll dive a little more into that in those videos. But that is what I have as far as a curriculum haul. I'm excited about next year, and I can't wait to share a breakdown. This is not at all the only things we're going to be using next year. This is just the new things that I have purchased, and I will share in upcoming videos what everyone is using. So let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, what you liked, things maybe that you've used, things like that, anything you have a question about, and I will try to talk to you down there, and I will see you guys on future videos. Thanks so much, guys, and have a blessed day.